After doing some research, I've just made a prediction that the Tesla Model Y is going to challenge the Toyota RAV4 and the Toyota Corolla to become the world's best-selling car this year. But there is one big problem with my numbers, with my data. I acknowledge there's one big problem: the United States market. Now, the United States electric vehicle market is huge for Tesla. Now, this isn't going to affect my prediction for this year, but it will most certainly affect my prediction for next year. Will Tesla's vehicle sales and the entire electric vehicle market crash because people are waiting for one thing? Well, here's what will most likely happen in the US over the next 6 months to the electric vehicle market. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Hope you've had an amazing week. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. It means a huge amount. In fact, that's why we're here. That's how I'm able to make these videos, because you're supporting us on Patreon. I'll put a link in the description below to our Patreon page. And if you want to support us, that would be fantastic. So many people are panicking now. They're saying that because the new electric vehicle incentive, which will reinstate Tesla and General Motors EV incentive of $7,500 rebate per car, will come into effect at the end of this year, that America's electric vehicle sales may crater or crash for the next 6 months. Will that happen? Well, here's what I think. I'm going to get right to it real quick. No, I don't think this is going to happen. Why? Because for one, people who don't buy their Tesla now might think, well, what about the price goes up again next year? That could happen. Do I want to lose my place in the queue? No, I don't think I want to lose my place in the queue. That's what I think people are going to say. When it comes to EVs from other brands, wow, the story isn't quite so simple. So the real answer here is yes and no. It depends on the models and it depends on the automaker. It's actually quite a complex situation. It seems as though Fred Lambert from Electric agrees with me on this. He says, first off, the incentive is not retroactive. The new credit applies to electric vehicles delivered after December 31, 2022, meaning they have to be delivered in 2023. Now, I think this is a big mistake. I think they should change this because this is going to deliver all kinds of complexity, customer complaints, very fair customer complaints, and problems and challenges. I don't think this should be the case, but it is. So, yes, this will have an effect. The main thing that should prevent EV sales from crashing, though, until the end of the year, is that the proposal includes a provision to still offer the current federal tax credit to people who place an order on a new EV this year prior to the signing of the bill, even if it gets delivered in 2023. Here's what they said. Transition provision for EVs with written sales orders dated in 2022 prior to the date of President signing the bill but delivered in 2023 allows the purchaser to claim the old credit in 2023. So, this is going to be good for all EVs that are still eligible for the current credit. So, sales for those vehicles will probably remain as they are. There shouldn't be any changes, really. That means if an automaker has delivered less than 200,000 vehicles in the US, or less than 200,000 electric vehicles in the US, and their phase-out period is not over yet, well, they won't be affected as business as usual. So the only companies this is affecting is General Motors and Tesla. Now, Tesla obviously has massive demand for its cars, its EVs. And a lot of that demand is coming from pretty wealthy people who make more than $150,000 US as an individual and $300,000 as joint filers, says Fred Lambert. Now, I'm not convinced that's true. In fact, I don't believe him at all. That's what he says, though. And he says that this means that it is likely to result in Tesla keeping a significant part of its market share this year. Now, personally, I don't think that's the case. I think that realistically, the majority of buyers of Tesla vehicles don't have an income, a daily household income of more than $300,000 US. Because frankly, only a very small percentage of Americans have an income of more than $300,000 in one household per year. So I don't think that's very likely considering what Tesla sales in the US. They're massive. They're hundreds of thousands per year. Yeah. Now, things actually are a bit more complicated though, because technically the base Model 3 and both versions of the Model Y will qualify for the new MSRP price limit as long as the Model Y is officially considered an SUV. And I've looked it up. Yes, it is technically considered an SUV, according to US law. Now, where things get even more complicated, though, is with the new requirement that 40% of battery minerals and 50% of the battery components come from the United States or countries with a free trade agreement with the United States. This is hard to know exactly the details of in terms of Tesla's products. Obviously, the base Model 3 has lithium iron phosphate batteries. Those cells in those packs, where do they come from? They come from China. About 50% of Tesla's vehicle sales are the base model, the LFP version. That's a problem. Now, speaking of the Model Y, if the Model Y does qualify as an SUV, which I believe it does from my research, it has a higher chance of being approved since it is equipped with 2170 cells and built at Gigafactory, Nevada, with a lot of minerals from North America and Australia. That would mean the Model Y will be more affected by the end of the year, or qualify for the rebate by the end of the year anyway. But because the Model Y is more expensive than the Model 3, there may be a significant portion of Model Y owners who do make over the threshold of $150,000 for single income households or $300,000 for dual income households. So that will definitely affect some buyers. Maybe 50% would be my guess. What about General Motors? The Bolt EV, the Bolt EUV, and Cadillac Lyriq could fit the same price requirements, but it's impossible to know if they fit the battery requirements. No one really knows. Now, the car that will be the biggest winner of these new incentives is the Bolt, which apparently is going to be discontinued soon. But the Bolt makes a lot of sense as an EV because it may actually qualify. Now, it's clearly an electric vehicle, right? It's faster than a Ford Fiesta ST. It has more cargo space than a Focus hatch. And as a result of these incentives, you'll be able to get one from $17,000 to $19,000. Will sales of the Bolt EUV, which the Bolt EV and the EUV, will people holding out for buying those vehicles at the start of next year when they'll be getting the $7,500 incentive affect the sales of EVs in the market? No, they won't, because right now, truthfully, GM sells very few Bolt EVs and EUVs. They make up a very small percentage of the market. Even if every single customer waited and said, no, we want to put our orders on hold, we're not going to buy any of them right now, right? Which is not going to happen. But if they did, it wouldn't really make a big difference to the EV market overall anyway, because like I said, they don't sell in big numbers at the moment, period. Now, personally, I'm not buying this idea that people are saying that people who buy Teslas make more than $300,000 in their household. I mean, that's like 440,000 Australian dollars in a household. The majority of Australians don't make that kind of money in a household. The majority of Americans don't either. And the thing is, right, sure, if Tesla was only selling, say, 10,000 luxury cars per year, I'd agree, but they're not. They're selling hundreds of thousands of EVs in the US, hundreds and hundreds of thousands. And I don't think all those buyers are really as rich as people claim they are. I think the majority of buyers are just sort of average, middle-class, suburban Americans. But I could be wrong on that. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.